indoor baseball practice facility in 1987, and it'll be 38 years old in February. I've expanded 4 times. I'm now
Four
in a
times.
60,000 square foot building. I went from 8,000 to 14,000 to 24,000 to now where I am right now.
Yeah. I
So
was part of the 24,000, right?
it's about 50,000, I think.
Wasn't I, though?
What?
Wasn't I at the 24,000?
You were at, yeah, you might have been at the one at Gate City on a Golden Gate Shopping Center too. That might have been the first time. Is the
Yeah, I
first
think
time you
so.
came was Westgate City Boulevard, High Point Road?
It was whenever the building you and Carmine were in.
Okay, you weren't in the one right before that?
No.
All right, so you
No.
were the one that we opened that one up in 1997, I think, and we just moved here about a year and a half ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you have some unique experiences. Who'd you play with back in the day?
I went to
Any
spring
big name
training with
players?
more guys. What's that?
Any big name players you
Yeah, I mean, I was in
used to play
spring
with?
training with Roger Clemens and Mike Greenwell, and uh, uh, Ellis Burks was my roommate. A lot of the guys I played with didn't make it. Carlos Quintana made it to the big leagues. Dan Gakler made it to the big leagues. Ellis Burks made it to the big. Ellis Burks was probably the best player I ever saw. And if he didn't get injured, he would have been another Willie Mays. He had all.
We love Ellis.
Yeah, Ellis was.
We loved Ellis.
He was a great player for the Rockies. I think they kind of ran him out of town in Boston because at that time, there was a racial thing going on in Boston, in my opinion. But Jim Rice, he stood the test of time there. So you just wonder why some didn't and some did. But Ellis was a great guy. He was a great friend. He he's a little younger than me. He came out of junior college, so he was probably the best player I ever played on the same team. Guys like Clemens and Marty Barrett and whoever was on that '86 team that went to the World Series. I never played on teams with them. They were just in spring training with me every year. The 3 years I was there. So, being the baseball guy I wanted to meet those guys. So I tried to hang around, get autographs from them. I knew the day I went to my first spring training, I wasn't good enough to make it to the big league. So I milked it like a champ.
Me too.
I milked it. Yeah.
I learned that. I
walked in my first spring training. I saw 50 guys that could do what I can do and were a foot bigger than me. So
how tall are you?
Huh?
How tall are you?
I was listed at 5'8", but I'm lucky to be 5'6".
Yeah, you're a little short, dude. You're like what's his name for the Astros?
That's right. Except he's one out of a million.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, Altuve.
Right.
Alan. I remember getting batting lessons from Alan, and my dad would always get on me, but he sent me to Alan to get to really get into me because, and Alan, I don't know if Alan remembers this, but I used to hit balls in the air, and the first word ever drilled in me was the word adjustments. Make freaking adjustment, Brock. Right. It wasn't freaking, it was the other word, and I was like 10, and I enjoyed it. I loved it. I would go back and do it all over again.
Right.
And take
that's advice. What I tell these kids. You keep doing the same thing wrong. Stop letting it escalate, man. Just figure it out.
But the words have changed. The words have changed.
Yeah, I'm mellowed out now. So that was my history with my business, and I'm from New York. I grew up in Queens. I went to college on Long Island. I had a nice history of baseball. I opened the place up when I was 26, and I just turned 64 on Saturday. So it's been a good run, 38 years.
That's a fantastic run.
Yeah. It's doing well.
And
staying up on tech, too.
Yeah, fun fact here, Alan, I grew up in the Worcester area. So I'm a Massachusetts native, Red Sox diehard. So when you were talking Ellis Burks, Greenwell,
right,
Clemens, Marty Barrett, I'm like, oh, yeah, I know. Yeah, 100%.
So there was a guy who I played in Winter Haven in the Florida State League from Worcester, Paul Tsutsis.
Oh, okay.
He made it to Double-A with the Red Sox. He was a kid from Worcester, and of course, one of my really good friends was Jimmy Corsi, who was from I can't remember what part of Massachusetts he was from, but he just recently died. I don't know if you knew that.
I did not know that.
Yeah, so Jimmy Corsi made it to the big leagues with the Red Sox, with the Marlins. and I played with him here in the South Atlantic League. His great story was he was our closer, and he had great stuff. He was our closer, and he blew a save on 3 shink hits over the first baseman's head, like blue pits, inside out swings. And he came off the field when we lost the game. He threw his glove at the water fountain, and it exploded the water fountain. And they made him pay it out of his paycheck to fix the water fountain. Jimmy Corsi, he was a good guy.
That's
He
a
just
great
died.
story.
He just died maybe 2 years ago.
Man,
Okay.
that's rough.
Sorry about that.
Yeah.
But thanks for sharing that story.
Yeah,
that's
he was terrific.
That's a great story.
Yeah, and he had a nice career. He ended up with the Marlins and the Red Sox, and I think he played 10 years as a reliever in the big leagues.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
This is I love it. This is a fantastic story. I love you just kind of talking about just being a kid in a way, like being a fan when you're at spring training, just talking to
That's all I wanted to do, just talk to the players.
Right. Ellis Burks, he had such a beautiful swing. He was great. He was awesome.
And when he was in the Florida State League, he was his numbers were terrible. He probably hit about $180, and he would go 1 for 5 in a game, strike out 4 times, and then hit a ball 600 feet. And in the outfield, he would get to balls nobody else can get to, and then he'd drop them. But if you look at his minor league stats, every year they moved him up, and every year he got better.
Yeah,
every single year he got better.
Development.
That's great.
Yeah,
and that's kind of rare, I guess, right? Like if your stats aren't great, you're not progressing.
He was awful. He was terrible in the Florida State League. Terrible.
Talking about terrible. Talking about getting better. Pivot a little bit. What are your thoughts on showcase tournaments nowadays versus back when they were when I was playing?
You're asking me?
Yeah, you.
Yeah, you. I think they're terrible now. They make these players pay so much money to play in these tournaments. Let's just take East Cabo, Lake Point, whatever it's called now.
Yeah.
And they'll send you to they will send you to a tournament, and the scouts will only be at one field. You'll play 8 games. 7 of them will be at high schools an hour away where no scout is going to go. The only time you had a chance to play in front of a scout was when you were at the main complex where a scout can see 4 games at one time. But if you don't have any prospects on your team, then they aren't going to put you on that field.
Yeah. How many teams do you have?
And we have, with our 2 showcase teams with Carmine, we have 16 teams.
16 teams?
16 teams. We have 14 baseball and 2 softball.
Yeah. What's fair price for people to pay in travel ball? What do you think is fair for like showcase ball to get?
Not saying like $1,000.
A range. $800
to $1,000. Anybody that charges more than that is ripping you off.
What is that? What does that entail?
So I'll give you what we charge. So for our younger teams, we give them a winter workout program with Carolina Acceleration, which Brock grew up doing.
100%.
Yeah.
Recommend.
So the teams that are under 10, they get 8 sessions with Carmine, team sessions, once a week for 2 months. Then they get, of course, their uniform package. And then we make the teams pay we just built new fields. So we're making each kid pay $250 a season for their teams to be able to use it. So that price is $799. And then the teams can charge whatever they want. So we just tell all our coaches, just see how many guys you got on a team. If you play in 10 tournaments and each tournament is $300, divide, the $3,000 between the number of the teams. So with all that, with the winter workouts, with the uniform package and the fields and the season, we're looking at probably around $1,100. There are programs that are charging $25, and the one thing we differ from everybody else can do what we can do, but what we differ is what Carmine does. That's where we 100%. Differ. Nobody can offer Carolina.
Nobody.
Carmine
is by far, no shot. Yeah. Right. I used to do that. I went from throwing like 88 in high school. I started with them when I was 11, though.
Right.
So 11
started when you were on Tony's team.
Yeah, I was not an athlete.
Right.
Nowhere close to being an athlete. Yeah, Alan's like, Brock.
Yeah, you suck.
I was like the contact hitter. I was like the contact hitter, the kid that bunt.
But he could hit too. He could hit also.
No,
he didn't get credit for hitting. He could hit.
Yeah, when I got older.
Yeah,
but I've
that's
had
what I'm
nights.
talking
The reason
about.
I could hit is because my athletic ability from Carmine. So what they offer is like untouchable. Nobody can beat it because it's fast switch muscles, strength conditioning. They put like an armband on to throw, and then you do this real slow back. And there's all sorts of things that Carmine does that others don't.
Everybody can offer the batting cages. Everybody can offer hitting and pitching lessons. Anybody can offer the uniform package. Where we differ is Carmine.
Yeah, so Carmine's the speed. We'll have Carmine on in January. I already got him set up.
So
he's a firecracker too.
So for a non, Carolinian here, like what is this? Who's Carmine? Like, what is he doing specifically?
So
that
Carmine Pagano is he played at Elon University. He Brock, you could probably tell more about him than I can.
Yeah. Carmine played baseball. He has a son that played at UNC Asheville as well. He's strength and conditioning focused, works with professional athletes and college athletes, all the way down to kids that are probably younger than 10, I guess. I started with Carmine when he was in Burlington, and then he moved into the Greensboro Batting Center with Alan when I was 11, closer drive. But what he does is basically gets you to become an athlete. There's not a lot. There's like D1, kind of like D1. What's that facility called that's like franchised out?
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm talking about? Like the red, red and something.
I saw them driving across.
But he's like, he's 10 times better than them because he owns the company, and he's like running the show, right? So he's not just like the franchise owner; he's like the guy.
Yeah, and it's his way or the highway. It's his way or the highway.
Yeah,
you either do it his way or find another place.
Yeah, hardcore. But he has everything set into place. It tells you what to do. You just walk in, do it. He'll help you and motivate you to get better. But if you don't show up, he's gonna say something about it.
Right.
Yeah.
Or if you're late.
Yeah, if you're late, don't show up late.
And he doesn't want to communicate with the parents. He wants to communicate with the kids. He says when the kids are middle school kids, they can take directions. So if they tell a middle school kid your next session is next week at 2:00 and they don't show, and he calls the parents, where is he? Oh, we didn't know about it. Oh, yes, you did know about it. He just didn't tell you. And he'll tell the parents that.
Well, I love that. I mean, we need more of that. I mean, unfortunately, we've gotten to a day and age where we're making too many excuses and not emphasizing accountability. Right? Like, there's a level of responsibility and accountability at some point that we need. Our young kids learning about.
Kids can do stuff.
Doing. They can, and when you give them that trust, they can follow through.
As long as you teach it.
Yeah, but if you don't hold them to it and you consistently make mistakes, and we used to refer to some folks as helicopter parents, the ones that just kind of hang around and want to do everything for that kid. Yeah, I love that.
They're the ones taking the Snickers in the dugouts.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, you got to hold people accountable. Kids can do things nowadays. Mm-hmm. Like, I mean, if I could listen to Alan when I was 8 or 9, whenever I was getting lessons from you, and you told me what to do and I did it, there's others that can do the same. I don't know why it's going to a different direction. I don't know why it's going like where we have to babysit everybody and we hope that.
Yeah, you would just think that the parents today would treat their kids the same way their parents treated them. But it looks like we're getting off that, axle. The parents are babying their kids now. You know what I mean? That's the one thing I hate about my daughters growing up in Greensboro, North Carolina, is they lost the street smarts that I had growing up in Queens. And you can't, that's something you can't learn. You learn it, but you got to learn it at a young age. You get, build your instincts. And my daughters are, they're good, they're smart, but sometimes I wonder why didn't they get my street smarts, man? It drives me nuts.
I think I got it. I think I got your street smarts. Being around you guys all the time, and Tony and freaking Carmine, always thinking ahead. Always thinking ahead. What's next?
Right.
How can I get better? Or just like kind of finding a way to do it. And you got to be around the right people though. Like,
that's right.
Maybe the parents aren't the right people. My dad.
And sometimes parents don't want to deal with people like me and Carmine. Because we're too hard on their kids, so they make the move. And then eventually, these people that make a move and they leave out of here, when they turn 25, they'll call me back and go, man, I wish I would have stayed. Why'd you let me go? It's just, that's the way it is. And that's the biggest compliment I have in my business is how many people come back and thank me. And even guys but even guys that didn't make it. You made it, Brock. I'm talking about guys that never made it still say, coming up and doing lessons was the best thing I ever did, and I want you to do that with my son. But you didn't make it. It doesn't matter. The experience was great. And that's what we want for our son. And right now, my business, there's so many people that I'm now doing there that, like when Brock has a son, Brock has a son. But when he gets old enough, I know Brock's going to make the trip here. Just even if it's just one lesson, just so he can go through it. But we have the kids.
He's already been there once.
Right, I know, but I'm talking about lessons when he gets a little older.
Lessons.
And we have so many parents that did lessons, and I'm not talking about lessons when they were 18. I'm talking about lessons when they were 8 and 9, and we've been in for so long that now we're doing lessons with their kids who are 8 and 9. It's not like they started with us when they were 18, and 10 years later we're doing lessons with their sons. No, they started with us when they were 8. And now 30 years later, we're doing lessons with their son. And it's not far away from being with their grandkids.
Yeah. That's crazy.
That's great.
Right.
That's crazy.
All right. So hold on. Let's pivot. So we're talking about lessons, right? Let's talk about the facility. So can you explain what services you offer at your facility? How do you make money?
So we make money. Lessons, first of all, we're the only place that, I don't know if you look at indoor facilities around the country, we're about the only place that still has token cages where people can just walk in and buy some tokens and hit for fun. So we're not just catering to the baseball player or the softball
I want to come
player.
back to that.
Right. And a lot of people do. So we have that. We have the token cages where you come hit baseballs and softballs. Then we have, which I think our biggest money and our biggest the best thing in our history is our lessons. People can do one-on-one lessons where they can do a package. They can do one lesson. They can do hitting, pitching, fielding, catching, and then the Carolina Acceleration in the building. In the area right next to us, he has his own business. So he feeds off mine where they can do agility or baseball specific stuff, for training. We have an indoor card shop. We have an arcade. It's more like there was a place in Queens when I was growing up called Golf City where you can do all that stuff, but it was outdoor. We're indoor. And it started off with just 4 cages, 4 token cages, and now we are at 6 token cages, a fielding area, 10 live cages, 4 mounds, and that's not even including Carolina Acceleration.
Or the field.
The field. Or the fields outside, which we're going to open up to our team starting in February.
Yeah.
So, Alan, for your teams, for the lessons, how many instructors do you have at your facility?
I probably have, besides myself, which I'm kind of phasing myself out now at 64, I probably have 4 full-time instructors and then probably 6 other part-time instructors.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
And then how do you go about marketing? Like, what does it look like? Is it word of mouth?
Yeah, I think it's word of mouth from the history of who we are. People who've been coming to us since 1987. But Brock kind of taught me a little bit about Facebook and Instagram and that. So I try to do a lot there. I don't do any advertising anywhere else except putting it out there on those platforms and then word of mouth. Just to give you an idea, we just did a Black Friday special, which is a 3-day sale to buy lessons or tokens at a discounted price. And in the 3 days, we had 105 people buy the package, the lesson package. And the lowest amount you can spend for the lesson package was $350. But we had people who spent $600. We had people that spent $1,200. And then we ran a token special where we don't really want to give away tokens the way we do, but we want to add that to the special. We only do it once a year. And we had about, I think, like 30-something people do that. So overall, we had about 150 people in the 3 days do the package.
Last year? How many was it last year? Do you remember?
This was the most we had. This was the most.
The year before that, what was it?
40. At our other location, it was 40. When Brock got involved with Stripe and doing it all, that's one thing we offered this year is we offered the link. We did it as an event. We did it as an event on our website where people can do it online. So that was an added thing that we never did before. It used to be either call or come in. And then we added Cash App and Venmo and Stripe. so people did it online as well. And that was always fun, being home and all of a sudden your phone clicks. Someone just bought 50 lessons, on Stripe, and it's pretty cool.
Yeah, and a lot of it comes down to the year before too, right? So remember we sent, I think, 5,000 texts.
Yeah.
Remember you were like, Brock, I thought it was going to be $100. Why am I getting a bill for 700? And I'm like, I have no clue.
Yes.
We thought it was there. I found out why. It's segments. So you can only send 160 characters and it's each segment. So it's 0.0079 cents per segment. So we sent like
tons.
10 segments, dude.
Right.
We sent like a whole paragraph.
Right.
And I'm making, so now it kicks, but at the same time, sending 5,000 texts now this year, you might not send any text. I don't know if you did or not.
We did. We're now doing it all on email, and that seems to work out great.
Work out fine. Yeah, but now back then, like a year ago, maybe there's a few people that didn't know you did, but now they knew and they're prepared this year to do it.
Right.
And because they saw it in the email, right? So you
and
sell
also,
it first, then it comes second.
Another way we sell it big time is when people just come in for a lesson, they have their package and we keep track of it. So right at Black Friday, anybody who had a lesson that week before or the week after, we said, hey, you know what? You only have 4 lessons left in your package. We just ran a Black Friday special. But you know what? If you want to add to your thing right now, I'll offer it to you one more time. And most people did it. Most people did it. A couple didn't. And when their packages are up and they pay full price, they'll be sorry they didn't do it. And hopefully they'll do it next year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That reminds me, I got to bill you for some money.
Let's go.
It's a plug.
I do have a thought.
Yes.
Because this is just something through my experience, limited experience. My son, he's younger, he's 7. We've done a few lessons here and there. But I come from the space of camp, and I understand running a really solid operation is really important, right? It's getting them in the door, but how do you keep people? So I was curious, one of the things I notice is, an instructor will get my son in, but there's no follow-up, or there's no, hey, I remember where we left off the next time they came in, right? And there's no progression. I think while we're working with kids, I think sometimes a lot of instructors who don't take the time to then follow up with the family and be like, hey, when your kids started with us, this is where we're at. Over a month progression or 2 months or whatever, it's like, look at the incremental steps, or just look at the leaps and bounds this particular player has gone.
Right.
And I always feel like there's opportunity for those that want to go that extra mile to help showcase that. Yeah. Because, you pay sometimes, lessons can be expensive, right? And when you invest in it, you're like, am I getting the money? Like, does the instructor even know who my kid is, or are they just going through the motions, right? And I think that's just
that's why we let the people choose the instructor. They know them. They might have a history. Their son might have a history. Their brother might have a history. But everything you're saying, everything you're saying is exactly what Carmine does. He tracks all that stuff. What we do as instructors here is we try to get on a personal relationship, but it's very tough to do what you're saying because you're trying to run these lessons in and out every 30 minutes. And it's very tough to do it. So we make sure the instructor goes over to the parent after the lesson, tells them what they worked on, what he needs to work on. And then, and we tell them, I say, look, if you're doing 1 lesson a week and this is the only time you're picking up a bat, you have no chance. No chance.
And that's awesome. But if you think about that, it's, the way I look at it, because I think there's such a great lesson in there is, the kid might not go play travel ball. He might not play at the highest levels, but you've taught him a skill in life, which is when you don't know how to do something, you can't just do it once, right? Or a few times and expect somehow you're going to get better. If you really want to get better and learn something, you're going to have to put time in, and you're going to have to practice.
Right. But you know what, Robbie, the whole thing is, a lot of instructors would have never went up to the father and said, hey, look, if he doesn't start working on his own, then stop bringing him. It's you.
100%.
Yeah.
You're wasting money.
That's one thing that I think one of the reasons why my business has succeeded over 38 years, because I've always been brutally honest with everybody. Like if a dad comes to me, hey, my kid's afraid of the ball. He seems like he's stepping out of the bucket. What can we do? There's not much we can do. It's all in his mind. But I'll tell you right now, if he doesn't get out of it, he needs to go play another sport, period.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That's right.
He wanted me to say, well, just keep practicing and it'll go away. I can't tell you that. I can't tell you it's going to go away. because that's not a baseball thing. It's something in his mind that's making him afraid of the ball. And here it is. Just like I tell kids who are 16, if you can't hit a 70-mile fastball right down the middle consistently, go play another sport because you have no future as a hitter.
Hey, how many pitches do you get to hit for one at bat?
It depends what level you are. In the pro level,
high school.
Maybe two.
College.
Two. One.
Pro? One, yeah.
Half of one.
I remember you telling me that when I was 18. You said, Brock, you get one pitch every bat. It's a fastball down the middle. If you miss it, you're screwed.
You're done.
But you're done. You got
to love the kids who get a fastball down the middle, let it go for strike one. Get another fastball down the middle, foul it off for strike two, and then the guy throws you a curveball that's off the plate, but the ump calls it a strike, and you're gonna argue with the umpire, right?
Yeah. I mean, that's fantastic advice. That's fantastic guidance, guys. I've never heard that.
The third strike is never the strike that gets you. When a kid tells me I struck out on a bad call by the umpire, I say, what happened on the first two strikes? Well, the first one was I fouled off. Was it a good pitch? Yep. Second one I fouled off. Was it a good pitch? Yep. And you're going to blame the umpire? You got two pitches to hit and you didn't do it.
They make an adjustment.
Right? Jeez.
That
drives me up a wall.
I love it. Two for high school, one for college, a half for the majors.
Maybe a half.
Maybe a half. That's fantastic.
But, Alan, you got to go.
What time is it?
It's 3:35. You can stay on.
Oh, hold on. Let me see. Hold on one second. Keep talking. Right. Let me see where we're at.
All right. Yeah, but Alan's very he taught me everything. Like him, Tony. I mean, there are like four guys that taught me everything I know, and I take this into business. Okay, what they taught me in baseball is basically the same in business. Be authentic. Be yourself. Think ahead.
I got about 5 more minutes.
All right, cool. Let's go. Yeah. So from a Slide Pro, so now let's talk about Slide Pro. So Robbie owns Slide Pro.
Yes, I would love to hear about that.
Yeah. So before we dive in, hold on. So Alan sells merch products. He has like baseball bats, right?
Not much. Mostly little things: batting gloves, batting sleeves, baseball caps, sweatshirts with my business name on it. So I bring in things that I know will sell. I can't bring in bats because there's too many, too expensive, and too many sizes you have to get. So I don't even deal with that. So a sliding mat would be a perfect thing for me to sell.
Yeah, no, I mean, in all honesty, it's fun. I'll ship you down one too, so you can just take a look for yourself.
Right.
But it's fascinating. I think just the exploration of it was, the question got asked, how do you slide? So I went online, saw people use cardboard, saw saw figure 4, kind of the steps people go about feet first sliding, realized like what parent, no parent or coach is going to take the time to go find cardboard. So being curious, like I am, I went down the rabbit hole, found about 30 different materials, found an incredible material and was able to print on it. But what's unique about it is that I quickly learned that most people really don't practice sliding because there's not a real tool out there. And what I'm coming to find out is a lot of people actually don't know how to teach it. They're just like, you just slide, you just get down, you just slide. And if you watch, I even watch at the highest levels, people will put their hands down. And the thing I want to educate folks on is anytime a body part other than your butt is on the ground, injury is present, right? Like you are now introducing risk to your hands, fingers. And we saw it in the World Series with Shohei Ohtani. Even though he slides feet first, having that hand down, caught the base and his shoulder gets separated.
There you go.
Yeah, that's me in the backyard. But here's the cool part. So not only have we have a mat where kids and players can kind of feel the full motion. Like it doesn't stop you. I think if you use the shoot mats before, those mats that have like the, they look like a big gym mat. And I think a lot of organizations have them. It stops you. It doesn't allow your momentum to continue to carry forward. What I've learned is after we teach players the 4 basic steps to learn the feet first sliding, there's a 5th step, which is the pop-up. And the pop-up actually is the easiest thing to add once you know the 4 steps, because as your momentum carries you forward, you have balance because you're on your butt. All you're doing is lifting off that shin that is in that figure 4 position, and you're up. So what I'm now starting to, wrap my head around is I want to focus more on these younger players as they come up, teaching them from the get-go of how to slide properly, because we're seeing a lot more kids want to slide head first, but head first and feet first. There's no, I mean, when you get to the majors, fine, you can slide head first. There's some skill and you can teach it and so forth. But in my opinion, there's no reason to slide head first, because you're 2 times more likely to injure yourself. And at these lower levels, there's no need to miss anywhere from a month to 3 months because you got jammed up. So teaching these players not only how to slide and protect themselves, but then add in an element of how to pop up. Now what we've done is all kids are now, if once they learn how to slide, they become confident. And then when you're confident, you're able to run at full speed on the base paths. And when all your players in your lineup are able to run and be confident with their slides, your team can now constantly put pressure on the opposing team. Because I guarantee if you watch some of your games and you think about sliding, you watch a kid who could have probably stretched a single into a double, but they hesitate, guaranteed that kid isn't really too confident in getting down or dropping into a slide. Yeah. Either they've hurt themselves or they have no clue how to do it and they don't want to get into that bang, bang type of play. So, so, I saw there was no one really in this market. It's a core fundamental skills. We don't really teach the fundamentals as a baseball community.
Base running and stealing bases was my forte. And all I ever did was slide head first. So I won't get into that about feet and head. All right.
Alan,
I was able to control where I slid by going head first and be able to reach to a bag with my right hand or my left. But I perfected that. But before I learned how to slide head first, I had to be confident sliding feet first. So I was. 100%. So that was my forte. And it's so funny that I never had a coach teach sliding. It was all instinct. But I did have one coach at spring training every year teaching sliding. His name was Johnny Pesky.
No way.
Johnny Pesky was the sliding instructor at spring training, at least my 3 years.
What was his instruction?
Huh?
What would he say? Like
nothing.
What can you teach about sliding?
So you slid on a mat. They gave you ripped up baseball pants so you didn't mess up yours.
Right there, Robbie.
They were baggy, in bare feet or in your socks.
Yeah.
You would slide into a mat and he would stand there and go, "That's a good slide. That's a good slide. That's a good slide." I never heard him say anything else except
nothing else.
"That's a good slide."
Didn't tell you. No,
Johnny
nothing
Pesky,
else.
Hall of Famer, the pesky pole, stood behind us while in front of us when we were sliding, saying, "That's a good slide."
That's great. That's great.
Oh, yeah.
I've never seen anybody learn how to slide.
I have never
been from that aspect of things.
And I'm going to tell y'all, the kids I'm working with, Alan, you work with kids who play travel and play. I'm working with kids in my local area at rec, meaning these girls never played softball a day in their life. Right. In one 20-minute session, they're after just doing it for 40 minutes with me, teaching for 20, they practice for 20. I get girls popping up and I laugh. I tell them, like, you're doing something high school and college kids can't do right now.
I bet you pro guys don't even know how to pop up.
Yeah.
No,
yeah. Stop ups. I think I learned in high school how to pop up.
It is.
Maybe.
And it's funny because Brock called me out on the last podcast. He goes,
call you out.
You did. He's like, "Hey, have you used your mat? Do you even know how to pop up?" And I was like, you know what? In all of my years of baseball, I don't think I've ever popped up. And I haven't tried to slide on this thing.
I said, you can't sell a product that you never used, Robbie. You got to get to it.
He's doing it, right?
He just did it. That's why he did it. That's why the video you saw is because
I did it. So I went and did it, and I was like, but again, when you know the 4 steps and you're able to drop in. But the biggest thing was that I find is when you slide on that butt, everything is balanced. Because when you turn to the side and you slide on that leg, your legs are lean. They're just muscle and bone. So that's why they get scraped up and they hurt. But when you are centered, it's so much easier for your momentum to just come up when you push off that shin. everything changes. And again, your arms up. So one of the things I'm going to be having fun with is, which I know coaches love, are the sliding mitts, right? Like you see all these sliding mitts and you see kids running with them. And the funny thing is, I'm like, you don't need them. I mean, like, I guess they protect your hand, but I'm like,
it's cool look. It's a swag.
It's cool.
But I needed my hand to grab the base.
Yeah, they grab the base. You can't grab the base
there's
anymore.
no way I could have done it with another mitt.
I don't understand the philosophy behind the mitts, but hey, whatever. Alan has to go. Alan, are you still good, or do you want to? Like it's 3:44.
Hold on, let me check real quick.
Oh, and I gotta ask you one question before you leave. After.
All right. Okay. All right. I'm good.
All right. You're still good to stay on?
Yeah.
All right, cool. How long would you okay, so now that you know Robbie's product, right? It's a Slide Pro. You wear socks, right? No, not barefoot. You've used it clearly, right? I think you said you used it in MLB. Yeah. How would you sell this to someone at a facility? Like what comes to mind? Like what's the first thing is like I'm not saying like teach them, like say, hey, this is gonna help you learn how to slide.
I would put it in my fielding area.
Yeah.
And just let people practice on it. I would just say, go ahead, go in and let people watch.
While they're waiting around.
So
while they're waiting around, hey,
maybe have a video. Do you have anything on? Do you have anything on video that I could pop into my screen?
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
That would be how I did it. I'd run it on my screen that has the prices on it that we have with the little.
Good idea. I like that.
Just run it on there.
People try it before they buy it.
Yeah, that's
Boom.
all.
Robbie.
100%.
But I'd like to have a few. How much do they sell for, Robbie? And what's my cost on it?
Yeah. So right now, my launch price is going to be $99 to start, and then for friends of the program, we work on getting you a much better rate.
All right.
No, he pays the same rate.
What's my rate?
I just get money on. He pays the same rate.
You're gonna get one up front. I'm just gonna send you one. I want you to just have it, use it. I mean,
I can sell it. Don't worry. Everybody knows I was a base stealer. All I have to do is say buy it, and they'll buy it.
But the best part is, like, especially this time of year, what I'm learning is it's a great clinic. And it's probably one of the most fun things kids love to do. Like, they're just all entertained. Like, I would say 90% of your players are like, yes, there's always going to be 10% are terrified or have no interest. Like, I don't need to learn how to slide. But the majority are just like, oh, and then I guarantee you, Alan, you'll probably want to try it. Maybe.
Yeah. You better try it.
Two hip replacements. I ain't trying anything.
You don't need to use your hips. You use your chest. You're going head first.
Shut up. I'm not going down. I won't be able to get up. Yeah, I will have no problem selling. So, one thing, Brock, and we'll get back with you as far as getting the word out. Once we get out on the fields, we're going to be running camps on our fields.
Nice, cool, nice.
Yeah, so that's one of the things, and we could always bring those sliding things out to the field. Yeah, and I'll be able to sell them.
Yeah,
and I mean the best part, right? And we made them with coaches in mind. They weigh less than 4 pounds. They roll up like a yoga mat. So
what are you selling it to the public for?
The launch is going to be around $99.
So what do you give it to me for?
That's a good question. What do you want?
Right, think about it.
Well, how do the other people do it?
Like what?
How do other companies sell products?
I just buy it at a cost, and then I raise the price to whatever, and I'll sell it for $99. Can they go online and buy it for $99?
So here's what I'll tell you. My launch, when I say launch price, I have yet to sell one online, not because no one wants it. It's just
preparing.
I'm preparing. I'm working on the final stages of some things, but the inventory's in. I'm going to launch at $99 just so I can move this first batch, but the original price was probably going to be $124. So the $124 will be struck out. Initial price will be $99. Alan, we'll get you a good price so that way you can sell it for whatever you need.
All right, and I could also put it on my website and have people 100%. Buy it online as well.
Yeah.
Who made your website, Alan?
Who made your website? You did.
That's what I'm talking about.
But listen,
I'm making people money. I'm making Slide Pro money. I'm making Alan money. I'm just bringing the people together.
Get me 10. Get me a great price. Send me the one you want to send me. Send me 10 others, and I'll start selling them right away.
I love it. I love
All right.
it. I'll get you.
Send
I'm
me
going to
a
get
bill
you
and
the.
I'll send you a check.
I'm going to get you the one. You try it out. You give it a, I want you to
He'd be
think
able to
this is
sell them,
something you think that'll work.
I will sell them.
100%.
But I'm going to tell you, Alan, what I get excited about. You're a base stealer. You're a base runner. I wasn't. I was a really good hitter. That's pretty much it. Wasn't, but it's once you give these kids and players confidence to slide, everything changes. Now you go from I have no fears, and now you've unlocked something in these players to just take it to that next level. And just kind of, I've been studying some, base running coaches and some others, and like, man, there's so many great techniques and tips out there that just aren't talked about enough. So having something like this, I really think puts a good emphasis on the just importance. We talk about hitting lessons in bats, right? Like my thing is you spend $400 on a bat, it gets you on base, right? A bat's you're not always going to hit a home run. You're on base. What do you do now? That $400 bat, that $84 glove, that, sliding mitt or whatever, they're not getting you home. So what are you doing to put yourself in the best position in your team to get yourself home? And,
I still got some good ideas with the step off the bag, It's like there's a lot of things that you can do with this Slide Pro or Slide MVP. Sorry.
Yeah, let me see it. I'll help you, and I'll probably have some ideas too once I see it. I'll probably have ideas.
100%.
But also, do you have a banner with it also that you can send me, and I'll hang it up. I'll start promoting it as soon as I get it
on Canva, Canva.com.
I haven't put up a banner yet. But here's what we'll do. Alan, if you like
deals, we're making deals today.
No. But in all honesty, if you do like it, because there's no pressure. I'm like, at the end of the day, like it's got to be something you believe in, and if you think the product works, you like it, then you follow up, and I'll get you what you need.
Were you not involved in a company that just sold for $200 million?
I was.
Yes or no?
Yeah, I was. Yeah, absolutely.
So I'm trusting that this is good.
Yeah, it is. Hey, Robbie's good. I'll back Robbie.
Listen, you can send me the 11, and we'll go from there if you want. All right. If you believe in it, and you have such success with what you're doing, and your gut instinct, and this is a gut instinct thing.
It is a gut instinct.
That's how I ran my business for 38 years. I never took a business course. I started this business with $5,000 loan. That's how I started. I had no money, no credit. So instinct is everything. Yeah. If you believe in it, I'm sure it'll be fine. And being a base dealer, and most people knew that was my thing, I will be able to sell these things.
Yeah, Alan can sell it. Yeah, Alan. Yeah. And how many kids you got coming through there?
We got, tons. We probably do about 40 lessons a day.
Yeah.
Just in lessons. And then once we get to January and the walk-in traffic picks up, we'll have a couple of hundred people a day.
Here's what we're making. Here's what we're building.